Right, we're jumping into Tyrion. Hi, I'm Dr. Chaos. You know, the entire thing. We're going to be playing as Tyrion. Um, he he basically is the one of the oldest families of Ulthuan, and is one of the best combatants the High Elves have to offer. Um, he gets better recruitment for infantry and cavalry, and gets slight buffs to having a bunch of the basic infantry stuff around. And he starts in Etain on Ulthuan. We are using the Better Building Icon Progression mod, the
Shield
Victory
against the
Condition
darkness.
Overhaul mod, and Better Camera mod. Now, our victory conditions: secure Ulthuan, basically, take out Nakari, Noctilus, Grom, and Silostra, hold the 4 gates either ourselves or through allies, and win a bunch of battles, and we get these bonuses. Second victory, take out Nagorond, secure a lot of the continent up here of Nagoroth, hold both Lothan and the Gaen Vale, and build a certain building in the Court of the Phoenix, and we get these bonuses. And then the Fate of the Soul, the third option, wanting to basically get back at the dwarves for the War of the Beard. We need to hold the Shrine of Cain, the race capital for the Wood Elves and the race capital for the dwarves, control a bunch of secondary major settlements for both the Wood Elves and the dwarves, and we will get all the Wood Elves on our side permanently and some extra money. Now, yeah. Well, so first off, we chuck Manolo into the army and then take the province. We then push south into southern Yvres, but that ends up not holding over, and we trade off that settlement for some friendship with Otharion. Now that we have our eastern front secure, okay, yeah, I'm not editing this, but okay, yeah, we then head west to go deal with Noctilus and the other vampirates, and push our way up through the western side of Ulthuan, where we take some losses, but we're gonna need to rebuild these armies anyway. Once Tuanok is taken, we see that the Dark Elves are somewhat moving down. Following on from that, we rebuild Tyrion's force, getting a lot of Lothan Seaguard in, because let's face it, the way I like playing High Elves is just line upon line of Lothan Seaguard. While Elariel is dealing with the Dark Elves up north, we decide to go take the gate from some High Elves who really cannot hold that gate themselves because, well, they basically have nothing. Once we do that, we turn to our next foe. So we send Tyrion and our secondary army, Loma, a princess, down to Galen's graveyard, while Elariel and Eltharion, their factions, are both dealing with the northern half of Ulthuan to take out, what are they called? And here we take the Galen's graveyard.
This is not noble.
Nakari and the Slanesh demons, that's who they're taking out, yeah. Our next assault is heading after the Dark Elves, starting with the Cold of Pleasure, led by Morathi. We make our first landing here at Grey Rock Point. After roughly 20 turns of guerrilla warfare against Morathi, we take her last city, her capital, the ancient city of Quintex. We did also get Tyrion's unique items. We then spend some time rebuilding up a few more forces. We do this in preparation to... Well, I say we fight the... continue the fight against the Dark Elves, but honestly, I primarily leave that to both Avalon and Yvres. Instead, while our High Elf brethren are up in Nagrond, I instead go for a quote-unquote 3-day military operation into the middle of Athaloran to claim the Oak of Ages, because honestly at this point in time I misread the victory condition and thought I needed to specifically hold the Oak of Ages myself. But, well, didn't need to. But anyway, after thousands upon thousands upon thousands of elf flosses on both sides, and a lot of money, finally we do get peace. Remember, I had to do none of this. At this point, we did push into the Empire. We were making fun of the Empire. We were taking Lorelon first for the victory condition, and then to also sell it off to the Empire as well. At this point, I'd also made the decision to send Leith and a new army I'd made at the same time, Melindre, a archmage, to push down into Lustria to help out the Mazdamundi and his forces, because, well, they weren't doing so hot. At this point we did get the first of our victory routes by getting military alliance with the other High Elf on Ulthuan, which allowed us, which, you know, got us a few benefits. By this point, the endgame crisis did also fire. It turned out to be the Chaos Dwarf endgame crisis, which meant that after we dealt with Lorelon, we did send Tyrion and his forces to go nip that in the bud quickly. Tyrion and his 2 armies with him, one of which we did steal off Yvres. We were pushing down into the Chaos Dwarf lands, but honestly to just deal with that endgame crisis we just had to take these 3 settlements. We did lose Tyrion fighting the forces of the Skaven, and we did also lose the armies with Tyrion, thanks to a bunch of ambushes, but this did turn out to be a blessing in disguise, as we then moved Tyrion down to rebuild him a stronger force. Shortly after, Elith did follow suit, same with Imric, who I did have nearby, because I was having him help out Elith by that point. Before long though, I had Alistair, Tyrion, Teclis and Imric built up at Ulthuan once again, while I had Elith and a prince known as Ulfrin rebuilt and pushing down against, down into Lustria once more. Honestly, Elith and Ulfrin just did their thing for the rest of the campaign and held the enemies of the Lizardmen back. Meanwhile, Tyrion and his assault force beached at Grunty Mingle, and which is where Altharin starts if you play as him. Their goal was to take Grunty Mingle as well as deal with a few minor objectives around here, so basically Carrigate Peaks, Black Crag, Krasakrak, so I can go for the 3rd victory option. The the place in the Darklands I had long since handed over to Ungrim for a military alliance, and I was trusting the other High Elves to deal with the Dark Elves. I mean, here's the Battle of Carrick Peaks. This is a great way at showing how practically all the fights that Tyrion's lot went through go. I basically put all the other forces on AI control, sat Tyrion in a corner, and let them go on out. This one I actually think I took the most losses at, but that was simply because the Skaven put their men from below, put it in the middle of all my reinforcing forces, and but had some phoenixes that were controlled by the AI. They just went, okay, bomb the guys that are standing right there in the middle of my own units, and that's honestly the most damage I got, because funnily enough, across these 4 armies I had like 10 dragons and phoenixes, plus another like 5 heroes on dragons or phoenixes, meaning that they would just go in and slaughter practically everything. And I mean here, my forces, this is when I got the second campaign victory. But in the end, I just had one of the forces that I sent up was very useful for going along and just striking against Dark Elf stuff. And once I did this, because I have been sitting on the seats that you could take for the past, since really early in the game, I ended up just confederating both of this lot, as you can see here, which, it gave me basically all of Nagorond. And here's the thing, I got rid of most of the armies, because I had a lot of armies, because on very hard difficulty, basically, if you let the AI do its thing, because the AI gets all these extra incentives to armies, they can have a lot more and a lot cheaply. It means by letting my allied AI forces go around and do their thing, there was a lot more armies on the field. Sure, here and there I didn't exactly, weren't as active as I would have liked sometimes. There were several points where they just built up armies around a settlement for way too long. But in the end, they were very useful and took out most of Nagorond. And I eventually just took him over, rebuilt everything, redesigned the entire structure, and I disbanded all their armies. And I don't think I actually built a new army between now and the end of the campaign. Or I may have done down in Lustria, but that's neither here nor there at this point, honestly. Yeah. And now, going into the final fight of the campaign, the Battle of Krasakarak. So, I enjoyed the campaign, honestly. And honestly, I am surprised that I am actually getting this edited down into a 20-minute video. Actually, I think it's more like 15 at this point, but I will be putting out the unedited recordings as a kind of evidence that I did do it, kind of this is everything I did and how I did it. I'm gonna let the fighting happen, honestly. You guys can watch the fight. I definitely got sloppy. The thing is, because whether I don't always like doing the fights, but I should do them more often. I know that. yeah, if this might be the dawn of a wonderful new era where I actually get videos edited down. No promises, but honestly, for the first thing I got edited down, probably not too bad, all things considered. Um, and I edited, like, so this campaign was originally like 18 hours. Um, but yeah. If you liked this edited, like, me actually editing it down, make sure to like and subscribe and stuff to make me aware that, you know, you do want to see more done like this. Um, I definitely have a lot to learn. Um, but yeah, the campaign went decently. And with this, I get the final campaign victory. I think there are two mods I'll be adding for the next playthrough, regardless. If I, you know, if I do a new one, removing character trait limits and adding legendary lord defeat traits for reinforcing lords. Both would be very useful, I feel. Um, but yeah, yeah. So I think I'll probably do it. So the other non-edited videos will be coming at, like the raw footage will just be coming out within the next couple of days. Um, Honestly, if because this entire fight is going to be, I'm going to let you guys watch the entire fight. I think I will just let, yeah, I'll have the actual audio, base audio in the background. Yeah, why not? But yeah, you want to see more edited down stuff and not just the, hey, here's 12 hours of unedited footage. Let me know, honestly. Yeah, towards the end there were, like, because I did lose some stuff. Some of these armies were a little messed around, but for the most part, the way I did Teclis's army was basically Teclis, a mage of each type. That, well, all that I could, but at the time when I got him was, I technically could have gotten another like 3 or 4 mages by that point to put into his army for the Winds of Magic I missed the first time around, but yeah, and the rest were Phoenixes and Lawmasters, um, or Soulmasters or whatever they're called. Imric's was Imric, Dragon Princes, and then Star Dragons. Um, you can see Tyrion's here. It is Tyrion, Caradrin, the mage, all the way from the beginning, and the rest being Sister of Avalon, Phoenix Guard, and a few Dragon Princes. And then Alistair's was a mixture of Sister of Avalon, White Lions, and White Lion Chariots. Anyway, maybe I won't have the original. Yeah, I won't have the original fight recording in the thing. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, let me know. See you next time. Goodbye.